Hey guys, and welcome back to Crafty Makey TV. So I recently received a certificate in herbalism from the American College of Healthcare Sciences. So I thought that coupled with the fact that it's December 20th, so we're right in the midst of cold and flu season. People are traveling for the holidays. The holidays are upon us. People are traveling, letting themselves get run down, and this is when we get sick. I thought this would be a great opportunity to talk about making your own elderberry syrup. Elderberries are a great immune booster, and elderberry syrup is really a great way that you can take it every day, just a teaspoon or two every day, to just keep your immune system boosted, or you can take it at the onset of symptoms of, if you're just not feeling well. It'll give you that little immune boost that might help you either kick your cold or whatever's, funk you've got coming on, or maybe just shorten the length of any illness that you might not be able to fight off. It's just a great way to boost your health, boost your immunity. So let's talk about the ingredients that we need. This is a really easy recipe, super, super easy. There's really no reason that you have to buy elderberry syrup in the store except for the convenience factor, but making it yourself is so easy. So let's go ahead and jump right in. This recipe is going to use 3 cups of distilled water. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in our pot. I'm actually making this for my daughter, who happens to be sick right now. I get to go babysit my grandbaby today, and so I thought I'd make this before I went over there so that she can hopefully kick whatever she's got going on. So 3 cups of distilled water. We are going to add to that 1/2 cup of dried elderberries, and it's a healthy 1/2 cup. I threw a little bit extra in there, and that's perfectly fine. You can make this same recipe if you are lucky enough to have access to fresh elderberry. You can make this same recipe with 1 cup of fresh elderberry and 6 cups of water. Everything else in the process would be the same. So again, 3 cups distilled water, 1/2 cup, healthy 1/2 cup of elderberries. So we're just gonna go ahead and pop those right in there. We're going to add a couple of other herbs. We're going to throw in a nice healthy hunk, about 1.5 to 2-inch hunk of ginger. Ginger is also a warming herb that has antimicrobial and antifungal properties. So we're going to throw that in there. Clove, I've got about 3 to 4 cloves, whole cloves, that you can throw in there. And then a cinnamon stick. Clove, ginger, cinnamon, all warming herbs. I'm going to break my cinnamon stick in half. And then I have these biodegradable tea bags that I use. And I just dump all these herbs into these tea bags, because then it's easy for me to fish out after everything is done doing what it needs to do, after it's done simmering, because we're going to let this simmer for a while. So I just dump those in that tea bag, kind of give it a little tie. Oh, that didn't work out very well, did it? Let's see if we can do that again so that it'll actually stay closed. There we go. Okay. So we're going to put our little, tea bag of herbs into there. I know there's some fancy French name for that. I'm actually going to use this to kind of stir those elderberries up a little bit. All right. And then once we've got that stirred up nicely, we're going to go ahead and bring that to a boil. So I've just turned it on to high heat. We're going to bring it to a boil and then take it to a simmer. Once it's boiling, we will cover it, slightly vented like this, and we will take it to a simmer and let that reduce down at least by half. Okay, so we're going to let that reduce down at least by half. The elderberries are going to, since these are dehydrated, they are going to soak up a lot of that water. So, and that's perfectly fine and perfectly normal, because what's going to happen then is once this mixture is done simmering, we're actually going to take out our little tea bag of herbs, and then we're going to use a potato masher and squish those berries so that we can get absolutely the most juice and nutrients out of those berries. And then we are going to strain it. We'll strain that mixture and kind of squish it in our strainer to, again, get as much as we can out of those elderberries. We'll strain it, and then we will measure how much we have. We'll strain it into a measuring vessel and measure out how much we have, and then add an equal amount of honey. And if you can use local honey, you know, honey that's local to your area, that would be fantastic. Or raw honey would be fantastic. Since this contains honey, you are not going to want to give it to a child that's maybe under a year old. Definitely not to a child under 6 months, because you could have issues with allergies. So yeah, then we'll add an equal amount of honey and we mix it up nice, and we'll have our elderberry syrup. We'll put it into a sterilized mason jar or other clean container, and we'll be good to go. And I'll be able to take that to my daughter, and hopefully it will help her with her cold. So you're going to want to store it in the refrigerator. The last batch of this I made for my daughter, she did not store it in the refrigerator. She thought she didn't have to because it had honey in it, and honey is kind of a preservative also, a mild preservative, but you have to store it in the refrigerator because it's got water in it. It'll grow mold if you don't. It'll take a little bit longer than if it didn't have the honey in it, but it will definitely grow mold. So remember, store it in the refrigerator. So while this is coming up to a boil, I just wanted to show you. So I get my herbs, most of my herbs, and these elderberries I got from Star West Botanicals. If you like, I'll put a link down below in the description box, so that if you wanted to purchase some elderberries from Star West Botanicals, you can do that. They sell in bulk, so if you buy elderberries from Star West Botanicals, you're probably going to be buying a pound. But it's not a huge bag. It's not a huge bag, but you're going to be buying like a pound of elderberries because they sell in bulk. If you're interested in making this recipe and you don't want a whole pound of elderberries, you would just like enough to make the recipe, I will leave my email down in the description box, and just pop me an email and I'll send you some elderberries. I'll seal them in a nice herb bag and send them to you for, maybe a few bucks. So that's not a big deal. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and we're going to take a little pause here while this comes up to a boil. Again, we're going to reduce it to a simmer. We'll take a picture of that when that happens, and then we will also video when we actually put the concoction together. So stay tuned and we'll be right back. Okay guys, I think we're about where we need to be. This has reduced quite a bit, actually a little bit more than half. And quite a bit of that water has actually been absorbed by the elderberry because they were dehydrated. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this off the heat, right? And I'm going to let it cool down for a little bit. and then we'll come back, we'll mash it with we'll press it with our potato masher, and then we'll strain it, see how much we have, and then we can add our honey. We're going to want to add that honey while it's still warm because it'll mix in a little bit better. So we'll be back in just a bit. All right, so we've let our elderberry mixture kind of cool down a bit, and now I'm just going to pop out that little tea bag of additional spices that I put in there. Aside from those spices being warming herbs as well, they also taste good. So they add a bit of a kind of a wintry, spice flavor to it, to the syrup itself. So now I'm just taking a regular old potato masher and just going in and squishing those elderberries that have both been simmering for quite some time, about 45 minutes. Okay, so we've got our little measuring cup here, and I've got a nice fine mesh strainer that we are going to put into our measuring cup. And we're just going to pour this mixture into here. Okay. All right, so I think this one I've got is actually pretty, I reduced it down quite a bit. Well, and the elderberries, again, they soak up a lot of that water. So this is going to be quite potent. I think we've got about 3/4 of a cup. Of elderberry juice. And I'm just pressing down on this mixture again to extract as much of the liquid as possible out of there. All right, so we've got that. And again, it looks to me, see, got a nice elderberry reduction here, and it looks to me like we've got just under a cup, probably 3/4 of a cup. So we're going to then add that much honey to our mixture, and the elderberry liquid is still warm. And again, if you can use a local honey, from a local farmer or farmer's market in your area, that would be ideal. That would be the ideal situation right there. So I'm just going to go ahead and mix this, and mix that honey, sorry about that, right into there. More honey here to this guy to get us where we need to be. So the flavor of this syrup is going to be sweet, but don't cut back on the honey. Honey has, as I mentioned earlier, its own, antibiotic, antimicrobial, and antifungal properties, and its own healing properties. So do not skimp on the honey. You want to add equal parts. You want to have equal parts elderberry syrup or elderberry decoction and honey. Don't skimp on that honey. It's really good for you. All right. And that's all there is to it. I mean, this is really simple. Something that's super simple. Anybody can do it. All you need are a few ingredients. What we're going to do is once this cools down a little bit, I'm going to go ahead and put it into this sterilized little mason jar and give it to my daughter. And I will have enough so that I can have like half a jar for myself. So, and again, you can take, once you feel that, if you feel an onset of symptoms, like feel like you're getting sick, you can have like 3 to 4 teaspoons of this a day at the onset of symptoms. But you can take it every day as a preventative during the winter time. Take 1 to 2 teaspoons a day as a preventative immune booster. So again, very simple way that you can get a little extra immunity into your body and perhaps help decrease any cold symptoms that you might have. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember that sharing is caring. So if you like the video, go ahead and click that like button down there. Go ahead and share it. If you'd like, please subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate that as well. If you click on the notification bell, once you subscribe, then you will get notifications when we post new content, I know we're a new channel. We just started like last week, as a matter of fact. We just started this channel, but we really are intending on posting a lot of content, a lot of good content for you. So stay tuned, and we'll see you again next time. Thanks.